You've seen me before. I think you have, yes? Right, okay. All right, have you got the handout of tonight's talk? Put your hand up if you've received a handout. You've got the card, right?
Yeah.
The blank card. Yeah, that's your handout.
Okay.
Okay, we're good on this. So the first thing I want to do is I want to demonstrate something to you. How many of you know what this is? You've seen this before, right? This is a musical instrument, didgeridoo. Would anyone like to try and play it? Any hands up? You can if you want to. You want me to try?
Yeah.
Put your hand up if you want me to try. Okay, all right, so we've got full hands. All right, let me try this. It's been a long time. It's hard. All right, that's the short one. I can play for longer, but what I want to do, rather than me having fun playing, and I love playing it, who else would like to have a go at playing this? Hands up, who would like to have a go? I'm serious. The instrument here, I've got a bit of alcohol here, so make sure it's not. All right, so you can try. Anyone? Who would like to try? Anyone? Okay, maybe get a chance a bit later. A little bit later. We'll just try a little bit later. All right, because it's very interesting. This will change your life. This will change your life. And that's what tonight is about. I want to go fast, but at the same time I go slow. There's a message in everything I do. Okay? It might sound mad, but it's a message. Take your card. I want you now in pairs. Yes?
I haven't got it.
Oh, we'll come back later.
Who wants a card?
All right. You want a card? Oh, please. The handout, I forgot. We should have made more copies for everyone. And if you want more, you can take more. That's fine. Please take more. It's no problem. All right. So what I want you to do now in pairs of two. Have we got pairs of two? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10. 11. Excellent. We've got 6 pairs of two. So right now I want you all to stand up. It's very important. Physical. Physical is very important. All right. It's another thing tonight. All right. Forgive me, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a hall activity, so you won't be doing any strange things, but only memorable things. Okay. So what I want you to do now, you have 60 seconds to tell the person next to you 8 dreams that you have. Don't look at me. Start right now. Go. Take it in turns. 60 seconds. Find a partner. 8 dreams. No, you don't have to write down. Just tell them right now you have 60 seconds. You now have 55 seconds. Okay, you two are together. Okay, you're with those two, okay, and you two. Okay, go. Quick, 8 dreams.
Be successful.
These are dreams, okay? We're not just talking about passing this course. "30 seconds. Come on, time is running out. Quick, you've got 8 dreams. Come on, these are real dreams we're talking about here. Real dreams. Okay, switch around. If one's been doing a talk, and switch to the other person. Okay, 30 seconds left. 8 dreams, the other way. Please come in. Please come in. Oh, everyone, you just got 30 more seconds because 2 people have come in. Welcome, welcome. What you need to do is share with each other 8 dreams that you have. Don't think too much, okay? If you have to think about it, then it's not a dream, okay? Quick, 20 seconds. If you have to think about it, it is not a dream. Well, then it's not a dream, okay? 8 dreams. Just, we're not talking about dreams when you go to sleep. I'm talking about dream for your future, you know? Okay. Or you can come out the front. Here is fine. No problem. welcome. Thank you for coming. It's great. Yeah, plenty of time, plenty of room. Have fun. Don't. This is not a hall activity either, so don't worry. Okay. 8 dreams. Okay, let's just stop there. We'll stop. Okay, 8 dreams. We could have made 9, we could have made 2. I think 8 is good because 8 is a lucky number, right? Originally I had 9. I asked my wife this morning, she said, no, make it 8. 8 sounds much better than 9. All right, but I was going to ask you to do 9. So thank my wife, you only had to do 1 less, okay? Now, you can write those dreams on one side of the card very quickly now, okay? Or write down the 3 best ones of those 8. Write them down now. And don't sit down for too long because you don't have to stand up again. This is great. There's a method in my madness. Remember, tonight is all about time traps, time transformation. Okay? So the story will come in the end. When we get to the end, you'll find the story. And this story you will not ever hear about anywhere else in the university in Asia. Okay? Right. Just write down your 3 top dreams. You just told 8 dreams of someone. You pretend you meet them in the lift. You've got less than 60 seconds. You meet the most important person that you think you ever want to meet in the world. And they say, oh, what's your dream? What are you going to tell them? Okay? You just wrote down 3 out of your 8 just to speed up tonight. Remember, tonight is about time transformation. I want to change your perspective of time. And you know what? We're going to bend time tonight. Have you ever seen the second hand move slow? We're going to make it move slow tonight. Seriously. We can bend time. And those that don't come tonight, they say, oh, what was it like? We say, oh, we learned how to bend time. Oh, well, you should have come. Okay, seriously, you learn how to bend time. This will improve your study. You'll improve everything you do from tonight onwards. Okay, 8 dreams. Now, 10 seconds left to write down 3 of those 8. Okay, you get down 3 of them, that's fine. If you can only think of 1 dream, well, that's great. Okay, you get an A for writing something down. Okay, so your GPA, all of you get a GPA of 4 for writing something down. Don't worry, okay, there's no exam. Okay, what I want you to do now, that's your dream. Leave room on the card, don't use up all the same size card. I've got extra cards if you need more cards. It's so important that you write down what your dream is, okay, whatever your dream is. Okay, really important. We're going to come back to that in a minute. I want you to turn the card over. There's a real story to this. I want you to turn the card over. Okay, you can stand up again now. And we're going to play the same game again. Okay? And there's a reason I'm getting you standing up, and I'll tell you why. Because it's the physical side of what you're doing. Okay? Because you're actually doing a thinking activity in exchange of information. So let's try again. I want you to do now is, with your partner, you have 60 seconds. You've got to do very, very fast. 8 fears that you have. Don't look at me, just start. Go. 60 seconds. 8 fears that you have. There's no time to think about it. If you have to think about it, it's not a fear. "45 seconds. Time is running out. This is not your dream, this is your fear. "20 seconds. 20 seconds. If you have to think about it, it is not a real fear. A fear is something that it's just in your mind all the time. If you can only think of one fear, wow, you're very lucky. I want to know your success. Okay, 10 seconds. Okay, switch around if you haven't switched around. Can you share? Please, just... "5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and sit down. I want you to write down some of those fears. On the other side, turn the card over and write on the other side. Okay. Everything will come together later. All right. Just Just bear with me. Allow me to bend time, then I'll give time back to you. Okay, just bear with me. Right. What you write down now is so important. This is so important. And this is a time trap I'm putting you in. I'm putting you in a time trap. Tonight's talk, part of it is about time traps, time transformation. Okay? Big thing tonight you're going to learn about is the biggest barrier to your success in the future. One of the biggest barriers. How many of you want more time? Put your hand up if you want more time. No, not for this exercise. I mean just time in general to do what you have to, whatever's on your plate. Okay, let me make it easy. Put your hand up if you've got a full plate. In other words, you've got lots of things to do. Put your hand up. You haven't got many things to do? You haven't got many, you all got lots of, put your hand up if you'd like more time to do everything. You don't want more time?
No.
Wow, you're so, wow, we need to know your formula, okay? Generally, we all agree that you want more time, okay? It's what's causing that? It's competition, okay? The minute you get extra time, everyone else gets time, and then everyone else does more too. You have to do more yourself, right? And I'm just so amazed how now people can go up the stairs in the university without looking at the stairs and without falling over. You know, they're actually reading their email and actually writing email as they're walking. I'm just amazed by that. Then that they can take that risk to just manage that time. Have you ever done that? Walking up and down stairs, playing with your iPhone? Like, that's very risky. Like a straight road, it's risky. You wouldn't walk out in the middle of a car doing that, but some people do in the traffic. It's amazing. All right? You need to put risk in perspective. You're all going to be lawyers one day, so you need to be more appreciative of that. Anyway, that's just a side issue. Right, tonight what happened, I'll tell you what happened to me with time. And I'm going to go very short story because it's not about me, because tonight is about you. Like many of you are going to come across successful people. I don't know if I'm successful yet, but one day I will be. I have a dream, and I'll share that with you now, that I want to be one of the best presenters, motivators in Asia. And one day, that was my greatest fear. So I look at this card, and the card on the fear side would be public speaking, be speaking in front of people. Okay? How do you do that? Like, that's my performance now, okay, big deal, associate professor, that's great, okay, but that's 2012, okay? Lots of professional journal articles. David, not bad, right? It's okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah, not bad. Okay. All right. So what you've done is actually you've put on one side what you really, really want in the world. On the other side, what is that you really, really fear? Okay? Does that mean anything? Later on I'll share what the meaning is. But my fear was talking in front of people. And my question to you is, when was the last time you failed? Have any of you failed at anything? Have any of you, what was it that you failed at? Don't have to share if you don't have to.
Failing to do as well.
Pardon?
Failing to do as well as I expected on the midterms.
Right, okay. So the failure in the perspective of really high expectations about how you perform in terms of an exam. Okay, great. But what about, and did you feel social consequences of that? Was that a failure within yourself, or was that a failure because you had to go and share it with people and people knew how bad you were? Now you're sharing it, I don't want to talk about that. Personally, okay, so you actually internalise that failure. Okay, so this is one thing, a lot of us do that too. And so I had a student come to me recently and asked about, you know, I did really, really bad on the midterm. You know, what am I going to do? I got 37% out of 100 in the midterm. How many of you have got 37% in the midterm? Anyone? How many of you do not want to get that level in the midterm? Hands up. Okay, you don't want to, right? This student, real student, come to my office. All right, what am I going to do? I said, well, it's in the past. Okay, what you got to do now, you got a presentation due on Tuesday. I want you to live and breathe that presentation for the next 3 days. How do you do that? they had to do a presentation on this retail store in Hong Kong. Well, tonight or tomorrow, first thing you do, you go to the retail store and just start to feel what it's like to be in that retail store. Don't just read the case study and memorize it. Go in and start getting your emotions involved. Okay, your body is either going to be captured by failure or it's going to be captured by your dream in the future. And that's the only way. You can't just not think about failure without replacing it with something else. And so we'll see how that student goes next week. But I'm sure he or she will do very, very well if they go to this store and just really internalise everything about that case beyond what was written on a piece of paper. Now, moving on about some of the things I'm talking about tonight. When was the last time you failed? Some of you have failed, some of you are not sure what I'm talking about. We'll come to that. Walls are there to prevent those who do not want something enough from getting it. Okay, we know that. We create these degrees, we create these BBA law degrees, all right? And we create a hurdle, all right? And you just try so hard to get over it. And often it's the competition that's causing you stress, not the barriers that we set as professors, okay? Because sometimes you've graded on the curve and it puts even more stress on you, right? Does that help you do better? Not really. Okay. So how do you replace those negative thoughts with something positive? Some about that tonight we're going to talk about. Okay. You know Spider-Man? How many of you have seen this guy? Have you ever seen him climb up the... How many of you know this guy? You've seen him climbing up the building? How many of you never seen Spider-Man before? He's a French guy, and he actually climbs buildings. He's climbed over 100 tallest buildings in the world. Just climb. You should read his book. It really makes you sweat when you read it. Okay? Like he's still alive, but when you're reading the book, it's unbelievable. Okay, do you think he has time to think about what? What do you think? What do you think about when you see that? Quick. Quick. What's the failure that comes into your mind when you see that?
What if he slips?
Yeah, what if he slips? Everyone thinks that, right? Did you think that? All right. Okay, so that's real failure, right? So that's a real failure. Okay. All right. So our doubts are traitors, make us do so good. We often win by fearing to attempt. Our doubts are in us all the time. Okay, that's an old saying from William Shakespeare. Keep that in mind. All right, this is what I did. I failed many, many times, but you've got to realise that, like, I have my dream, and your professor, oh, you do your dream, everything's hunky-dory, that's great, but it's where I started that matters. See, I dropped out of school in year 10, I was only 15 years old. There are people going across to Foxconn and trying to catch them out for hiring 15-year-old workers, right? You remember that? Okay, that's how young I was when I left school. Okay, and that's okay because I grew up in the country. It's okay to do that. If parents didn't have the expectation, maybe what they have on you. Anyway, so I had all of these jobs, and I was asked to leave and stick to teaching, gave up tenure, and I grew up in Mildura. You know Mildura, Australia? So that's a little town. I'll tell you, I picked grapes. How many of you drink wine? Any of you had wine? So I picked grapes. Any of you picked grapes? You should try it. It is very liberating. In 40-degree heat, and you pick 200 buckets in a day, and you get 20 cents a bucket. Okay, how much is that? 40 Australian dollars for one day's work in the hot sun. Okay, you should try that. That's what work is about. I grew up in fruit block, so it wasn't about study that we didn't expect. All right, there's my grades, A, B's. Did I get any A's? Oh yeah, oral expression. There's something in there, isn't there? But I didn't think my English was that good. C, B. So things weren't that good. That's why I left school, because I really didn't have any confidence to go ahead. All right, so I got A's, B's, C's. How many of you got a C in your secondary school studies? Put your hand up. At the back. And how did you feel when you got C? Did you feel on top of the world?
No.
How did you feel?
Kind of expected.
You expected it. Okay, all right, that's good. How did you feel?
That subject might not be my best subject.
Okay.
Comparing to those A or B.
All right, we're going to fast forward this because I don't want this to be about myself. But as you can see, like at the time I left school because I didn't have confidence to pass exams. So I was doing 3 months in year 11, physics test was coming up, I really didn't know what heck was going on. And so at this job at the mobile, there was me, I loved running, there's my family, that's me in the great packing that was going back in 1985. This is my first job and I was so excited that 1980, wow. I was pumping petrol. No, it's not a petrol station you see in Hong Kong. This is a distribution centre. So interesting, I was so glad one day that the rail tank, every day the rail tankers would come up from Melbourne and we would empty them. We got a 4-inch pipe at the bottom, we had to unscrew it. And in the manifold, after a night of coming up on the rail from Melbourne, 500 plus kilometres, what would happen is the petrol would leak down into the manifold and you had to open that up and it would spray out onto you if you weren't careful. And then after you open up that cap, then you can open up the velvet top and the pipe is underneath. It takes 1 hour to empty one of them. 1 hour. Okay, 45,000 litres. What does that mean? Well, what happened one day was, another time, there's the rail there, we had petrol tankers and this tank here had pipes going on this side and on the other side. Had a manifold in between. It's a 10,000 gallon tank. Okay, so a petrol tanker with, that's 45,000 litres. With 32,000 litres of heating oil, we connect up to this tank. Okay, so you have to open up both valves each side to empty the tanker into this tank, right? And it took 1 hour for 45,000 litres. So what happens? I open up tap on one side. My colleague was supposed to open up the tap on the other side. He didn't do that. So it fills up one side and then you've got 15 minutes of heating oils coming out like a fountain out the top. Okay, so you're talking about several thousand litres of heating oil lost, and so less than 2 hours later I was fired. And you know, I felt really sad after I got fired, but then I felt really glad not long after, because by the end of that night, guess what? I got the next best job that you can get, and that is, I got a job working for an insurance company, selling insurance. And so, a long story short, less than 2 years later, I was encouraged to move on because I didn't sell any policies. No wonder, I was only 16 and a half, 17 years old. How can you sell anything when you're that young? Have you ever tried selling insurance? Put your hand up. You should try it, okay? Because ultimately, you're in the courtroom, you're in legal in a company, you've got to sell yourself somehow. And I tell you, my experience in insurance selling was just a wonderful experience, because you just have to learn how to sell. And the biggest key to learning how to sell is belief in your product. Okay, so future lawyers, you need to believe in the law somehow. You need to find an angle to believe in the law that you're studying. You can't just go into a courtroom with head knowledge of the law. You need to be emotionally connected to the law too. All right? That's another key to the passion for your success. Keep that in mind, okay? All right, insurance sales. Everyone's a salesman. I don't care if you don't want to go insurance. You've got to learn how to sell yourself. You've got to learn your elevator pitch. We'll talk about that in another time in whatever domain you're working in the future. All right, so there's the company I worked for. Then I went back to study in 1983. How can you go back to university if I didn't do year 11 and year 12? Well, you can't, so I went back and did a diploma. So I'm really encouraging of anyone that does those diplomas in Hong Kong as a transition for those that don't get through the JUPAS system and back into the university. There's hope for everyone. There was hope for me. Wow, look what happened. Okay, so then I went to Ballarat University and passed, then went to Manjad Chartered Accountants. I was working in taxation for nearly 2 years and I had to leave. Well, they encouraged me to leave. Here it is. Can you imagine? I don't know if you want to, how many of you want to go into a law firm when you graduate? Wow. One? Amazing. How many of you want to be in an accounting firm? Wow, amazing again. Well, do you want to?
They want to do yet.
You don't know what you want to do? Okay, that's fine. We'll work on that. We'll work on you. Well, I was in an accounting firm. I understand if you don't want to be in an accounting firm or a law firm, because I was at a desk for 2 years and it drove me crazy. And part of the reason was I guess I didn't get to interact with people. If I was in the auditing department, it would have been a different story. So in the end, I ended up leaving. And at that time, I really thought, I was at a stage where I'm thinking, well, what am I going to do in my life? You know, now there's 3 jobs now. and I got the degree, but I want to become an accountant. I was in an accounting firm, but it didn't work out. So what do you do? It's sort of like dead end. But deep down inside, I want to be a public speaker. I want to talk to people. I want to interact with people. So what do? You become an academic, all right? If you fail at any job, just become an academic, all right? That's what you do. All of you, just keep that in mind. So at that time, actually, all the tapes I did listen to when I was trying to sell insurance, or the motivational tapes, was quite encouraging for the teaching and inspirational for wanting to become a public speaker. So that was at University of Melbourne, but that's where the challenge starts, because at University of Melbourne for tutor for 2 years, and then a new professor comes along and says, Neil, I don't think you will make a good researcher. I suggest that we're not going to renew your contract and you move on to a teaching institution. Can you imagine someone saying, well, you know, you're not good enough to Hong Kong U, how about you go to Open U? How do you feel about that? How would you feel at the end of this semester, look, how about we transfer you to Chinese U or City U law program? Hey, I don't know how you feel, okay? Sometimes your allegiance to a top university, you believe, you cause that belief in yourself that you want to be here for that reason, and then you're being asked to leave and go somewhere else and you think, oh, I don't want to go there. But I didn't have choice, and so I went to this teaching university and I said to myself, I'm going to prove that professor wrong one day. And that's when the emotion in me started to get aligned with my thoughts. You see, the biggest barrier that you have is your emotions. Why did we play this fast card game? Because I didn't want your emotions to get involved. I put a time pressure on you because I want your mind. I didn't want your emotions inside you saying, no, don't tell that person that. You haven't shared anyone that before. You haven't shared your failures with anyone before. Don't say that. You're going to look a goose tomorrow. All right, that's your emotions telling you. Okay, so I put a time trap on you. Okay, and it's your emotions that create the barrier in your career that you work out in the future. That will create they'll actually propel you or create a barrier, and that's what happened with me. Okay, so soon as I was asked to leave and go to that university, my emotions were so charged up to prove them wrong. I did a PhD part-time in 4 years while doing full-time lecture load for 4 years. Okay. Average PhD in the US is 6 to 7 years full time. Okay. Now, what does it mean? What does it mean? Well, that maybe US PhD is even better. No. At the end of the 4 years, I published a single-authored article in an international top-tier journal. Okay. So, how did I do that? How can you do that? How can you go from dropping out year 11, 3 months in, 15 years old, okay, 1980. And then 1996, 15 years later, and then you publish single-authored journal, top-tier journal. How can you do that? It's the emotions that got aligned with the thoughts. That's how you bend time. That's the secret to bending time. And I'll tell you more about that very quickly, all right? So when I was at, and that's also, I worked out what I want to research on. So I decided to research on Asia. I loved China. I went to China in 1990.